In this question, we're looking at naming. Now, the first thing with naming is to figure out what type of bond it is. So this one's a little trickier because we have two nonmetals, but the key is to always look to see if there is a metal. In this one, there is. Cobalt is a metal. It's in the middle of the periodic table. We can look at that. Okay, so we can see it here. Now, with transition metals, do we know the charge? In this case, we don't know the charge. We're not sure what it is, but we do have to, with naming, put those Roman numerals. So we got a couple things to pay attention to. And while we're looking at the periodic table, so when we're doing naming or when we have a name and are working backwards and we have to charge balance, so sometimes you may not know the charge. And so you have to use the clues given to you. In this case, it's bonded to a phosphate, which is a polyatomic. So recognizing those polyatomics is important. Sometimes, so if cobalt was just bonded to nitrogen, we know nitrogen is always a -3. And so we could identify what cobalt is by how many nitrogens are bonded to it. So this idea of charge balancing can be helpful. Or maybe you have a sodium, which you know is always a +1. And so, wait, it's bonded to nitrate. I can't remember what nitrate's charge is. Well, but there's only one sodium to one nitrate, so I know it's a -1 or something like that. So we can use the clues to determine what something is when we're not sure, like cobalt in this case. Okay, so we have cobalt, we have phosphate, which we know is a 3-, and there's only one. So, and there's no parentheses. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio, which means our cobalt must be a +3. Now, the thing that makes this difference, because it's a transition metal, we need to include the Roman numerals. So let's give it a try here. So cobalt 3 phosphate. There we go. So don't forget those Roman numerals. They're only needed in those transition metals, not the first and second column or like an aluminum. And then remember to identify polyatomics. If there's just one anion, so an N or a P or an O, then it is not a polyatomic and it's going to have the charge that you can find on the periodic table. Otherwise, polyatomics are found on the reference sheet.